Hello, everyone. I hope this message reaches out to those who are curious about the extraterrestrial, and also I hope this reaches the illustrator of this picture here in this article, and also the individuals that were in this story. Uh, I was one of the lucky people to had witnessed a UFO or UAP in 2007. And I've kept this story a secret until now. And this story here that was written, I found maybe 7 years later, and that opened a can of worms to where I've done a lot of research about UFOs, and I became one of those nuts. So, long story short, guys, I want to share with you my perception, not perception, but perspective of the UFO that I saw on the same night of Don Raymond, a resident of Round Hill. And you guys can Google this story or Bing, whatever, and you'll find this story. And Raymond, Don Raymond, and her daughter was living in Lake Tahoe, Round Hill, Lake Tahoe, when they witnessed a UFO. And I just so happened to be at Ice House Reservoir, which is 25 miles. Sorry, I'm typing what I'm saying. Um, from Lake Tahoe. So here's Lake Tahoe, and basically they live in this area here. That's where they saw the UFO approach their home and then zipped off. This is where we come in. So my friends and I were. So let's go ahead and mark this, right? How do you. I don't think I can. So let's say the UFO was about there, and we were southeast over here at Ice House Reservoir, which is also a campground. So my friends and I from Sacramento were bored and wanted to visit this place at night, in the middle of the night. I don't know why. I was young, we were young, and we were just spontaneous. So we drove my Prius up this little side of the reservoir campground and parked my vehicle over here, and it was dark. It was really pitch black. There was no light but the moon. And we walked over here to where we can see the water, and in the distance we can see Mount Talek, which I'll show you here shortly. So this is about 20 miles, okay guys? 20 miles from Lake Tahoe. And this is Maud Lake. So Mount Talek is also over here. But anyways, this is the mountain. It's about 9,000 feet in elevation. And Lake Tahoe area is about 6,000 feet in elevation, and Ice House Reservoir is about 5,000 feet in elevation, just to give you guys an idea. So we were up there at Ice House Reservoir, and I was standing there watching the sky, and I had noticed something in the distance, and it looked like at first I thought it was Venus or a star in the sky, and it caught my eye because it was glowing kind of like reddish orange color, and it wasn't blinking, it was solid. um and here we go. Here's a good example. So I was standing right about here. Let's see if I can. Well, let's just do that. So here, this is a great view of what I was looking at that night. So in the distance is towards here is Lake Tahoe, and right about here actually, I saw that orb in the sky about this high, and it was going right, and it just kind of chill there. I'm like, is that a lantern? Is that a plane? And it would go left, just really slowly. And you can tell it wasn't in the sky beyond the atmosphere of the Earth because it was really low in our atmosphere and you can see it clearly. And then it would start to drift down and then back up very slowly in the distance, but it was very strange. So my friends were like, maybe it's a military aircraft or something. They couldn't tell what it was, and then all of a sudden it dips down behind the mountain for about a good 10 seconds. We're like, oh, it's gone. It just disappeared, and then the orange ball of light came back up, and we're like, what is that? And then all of a sudden, it starts to kind of move. You couldn't really tell because it was coming towards us at this point, and it took about, I'd say, 6, 7 seconds to get to us. It wasn't that long, and it came from up there, right? And all of a sudden, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the light turned off right about here. Okay, it turned off, like it disappeared. The orange ball of light was not blinking. It was just looked like a ball of flame. So right about there, it turned off, and all of a sudden it still moved. You can feel it moving, and all of a sudden in its place it turned back on, but a red light came on this time. It was red instead of like an orangish emerald colored light, and it started blinking. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe we're gonna find out what this ball of light is. It's getting close. And as it starts to continue moving, all of a sudden in the sky you see something like the shape of a triangle. The head was forming, basically, of this UFO. And it starts, you start to see the rest of the body as it's flying. And all of a sudden, right about here, it turns into, you can see the rest of the UFO. The wings start to appear and the whole body. But on the wingtips, it was two white lights that was not blinking and one red light underneath. Let's see if I can show you something if I could. So here's an example. These two white lights were there, but the red light was underneath right here, blinking, and there wasn't a white light at the top there. So it got to us within a few seconds, 7 seconds, and it was 25 miles away from where we were to get from there to here. And all of a sudden you see this giant triangle flying about double the size of the tree. So whatever the size of the tree is, it was flying up here, and it was a triangle flying in the sky, very slow, no noise, silent. You can hear your own heartbeat, and it's flying and flying, takes up over half the other side of the trees, over half of this side, and it's just gliding slowly, and you're just looking at it. And all you can see is a matte black triangle with the two white lights and the red light underneath. And it's slowly going past stall speeds. It's just floating, like not even like a kite. It's basically like a kite, but slower. And then it just disappears beyond the tree line here, and we lose sight of it. And it did not make any noise. There wasn't any visible cockpit. It was just a triangle with two white lights and a red light underneath. I couldn't make out what it was. It was unexplainable. So it flew from Lake Tahoe right here, guys. Can you see it? Mount Tahoe Lake. So right over here, came straight down and continued down in this trajectory, I'm assuming. And to arrive in 7 seconds, that thing had to have traveled over 10,000 miles per hour. The fastest aircraft we have, look it up, can only go up to 1,300 miles per hour. And I'm assuming it's not going to take, 7 seconds to get to us, because obviously it's got to build up speed. And in 7 seconds, that's insane, guys. Even less than a minute, it's still unrealistic. So all the videos I've researched, all the articles I've read, everybody out there has described the same thing. And it's come to the point where, we need to find the truth. So it was quite the experience that night, um, to see a red orb fly towards you, and then, like David Copperfield was doing a magic trick and said, "Ving viddy boo," whatever, just some magical words, and all of a sudden a triangle appeared. So to put into words, the experience of it felt very, very calming, but yet eerie at the same time. How to explain it? If you weren't looking up in the sky, you would had never seen this UFO larger than the size of a football field, floating overhead like a ghost, just creeping over without making a sound. That's like having someone stand behind you and you didn't even know they were there because they were so silent until you turned around and looked. That's how creepy it is, guys. And I believe this craft, whatever it is, has cloaking abilities, meaning it can make itself disappear or reappear when it wants to, and can travel at Mach speeds of 17 or higher. So that's like what, 10,000, 15, 16, 17,000 miles per hour. Can you imagine? Probably not. But the fact that this story from 2007 of a mother and daughter who had witnessed the same thing. Oh, look, I could have used that as an example. The red light was right here, guys. So, Mr. Floyd Johnson, if you're out there, I hope you hear this story of mine, and I hope it reaches to Dawn Raymond and her daughter Raven that you guys are not alone. I also witnessed that UFO that night, but I saw it change shape. And now more stories are coming forward. More people of higher ranking are coming out. Government officials speaking up. It's time, guys. It's time to know the truth and find out what is in our skies. Who is it that's coming to visit us? And are we safe? I hope that you guys have made your own conclusion to whether or not UFOs exist. But I'm a true believer that there is something out there that is far greater than mankind's existence. So don't forget, you're just a visitor on this planet.